Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got some breaking news coming out here for you. So we're going to be talking about military defense spending in this video. And primarily let's talk about China. So we have a report here coming out from this gentleman here you see on the screen. His name is Admiral John C. Aquilino. He's the commander of the United States Indo-Pacific Command. Okay, so this U.S. Navy admiral was coming out and warning in Tokyo, Japan. He was telling reporters that China's defense spending is concerning. Okay, and here's why he was saying that. He was saying that China's economy is failing, and even though it's failing, they are increasing their defense budget. So he's calling this a concerning event because it really doesn't make sense. If your economy is failing, why would you be spending so much money on defense? And this just goes to show not only China, okay, multiple countries, including the United States, have been increasing their defense budgets all over the world, okay? So definitely countries are moving towards preparation for war. And that's primarily why I want to go over this, okay? So I have an article we're going to be going over. We're going to be discussing this. This is on Reuters. China's military spending is concerning given failing economy, U.S. Admiral says. So this just coming out today. The increase in China's defense spending is concerning given its economy is failing, the head of the U.S. Indo-Pacific Command said on Tuesday. Speaking to reporters in Tokyo, Admiral John Aquilino said China's economy had been battered by turmoil in its real estate sector and asserted that its official growth rates were not real. So he's claiming that their growth rates, whenever they announce how their economy is doing, that they're artificial or fabricated, that they're not real. And we do know that their real estate sector, over the last, I want to say like 3 years now, has been taking a major hit. There was that huge real estate company, I think it was called Evergrande. I remember hearing about that years ago, that they were going to collapse. And then just in like the last year, it finally collapsed. So their real estate sector has definitely been hit hard. And their economy continues to falter. But at the same time, they're increasing their defense spending. And it says right here, he also said China was spending drastically more on its military than the 7.2% increase it declared last month. So I remember hearing about this, China stating that they were increasing their defense spending 7.2%. But he's claiming here that they are spending drastically more. Who knows what number that could be? What is it, 10%, 15%, 20%, or something like that? We'll be going over some official numbers coming out from last year in terms of defense spending from multiple countries around the world. And I'll show you that defense spending is increasing not just in China, but all over the place. And there was just a report actually that just came out today that the UK was increasing their defense spending. I think their GDP, their defense to GDP ratio was going to go up to like 2.5%. So a pretty significant number, definitely not where I think it should be. I think it should be much higher, maybe like 3 or 4%. But they said they were increasing to what they're calling like wartime GDP defense spending. So it goes on to say here, despite a failing economy, there's a conscious decision to fund military capability. That's concerning to me, said Aquilino, who is due to leave his post next month. He also criticized China's increasingly aggressive rhetoric and actions in the South and East China Seas, specifically around the disputed Second Thomas Shoal and Taiwan. So I've talked about this, the Second Thomas Shoal, that's with the Philippines, with their Coast Guard. China's been shooting water cannons at Filipino Coast Guards around this area, the Second Thomas Shoal, and also putting a lot of pressure on Taiwan, flying a lot of warplanes into their airspace and surrounding the island with their navy. Just lots of provocative actions, which I have been seeing a lot of that. As it applies specifically to Taiwan, I am watching an increasingly aggressive campaign, plan, and coercion and pressure, he said. The Chinese Foreign Ministry did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment. A top Chinese military leader told a gathering of senior foreign naval officials this week that China remains committed to resolving maritime disputes with other countries through dialogue, but will not allow itself to be abused. Aquilino also labeled North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's regime disgusting for spending on its military even as the country has grappled with food shortages. So this is something that I think is kind of interesting to talk about. Like he mentions that Kim Jong Un, the leader of North Korea, is not focusing on their people. They obviously have a issue with food shortage there. Lots of people are starving. Been a very known thing for a long time due to a lot of economic sanctions. So obviously their country's struggling, right? But at the same time, North Korea is doing the same thing. They're increasing their defense spending. I just reported, I don't know, like a month ago, that he was going around to all his military factories where they're building tanks and missiles and artillery, whatever you name it. And it's countries all over the world that are doing this, not just China. It's North Korea, it's Russia, United States, okay, multiple countries in Europe. I just mentioned the UK. So lots of countries are increasing their defense spending, even countries that seem like they're struggling. So, even if you want to talk about North Korea, let's talk about the US for a minute. Well, the US, they're over here increasing their defense spending and they're sending money all over the world. But at the same time, there's lots of political issues and, issues with homelessness and issues with food shortages, whatever it might be for the poor populations, even in the United States. There's an issue there too. It may not be as bad as North Korea, but there is that issue in the United States. And at the same time, those issues, get a complete like blind eye look at it, and the direction of attention gets put towards military. So I just wanted to note that it's not just North Korea or China, things like that. So it says here, this is another regime where every bit of economic advance that they may have, despite the sanctions, are going towards military capability and not feeding the North Korean people. That's disgusting, he said. So that's going to be it for this article. And, again, like I said, we're seeing the same kind of approach from all these different countries where they're definitely focusing on defense spending and not so much political issues in the country or, solving hunger or solving, major problems that are going on within particular countries. They're all focused on war right now. So definitely we are moving towards a wartime economy for majority of the countries, especially the major players involved, United States, Russia, China, North Korea, the UK, countries like that are heavily involved in war right now are all increasing their defense spending. So I wanted to show you this. This is a post on X from Politics, World Wide Web. And it says here, global military spending rose to 2.44 trillion in 2023. So it says global military spending, okay? So that's basically all the countries in the world that focus on military spending. So it's a overall broad spectrum of countries that are doing this, not just China, not just Russia, things like that. This was the steepest year-on-year increase since 2009. The 10 largest spenders in 2023, led by the United States, China, and Russia, all increased their military spending. Top 10 spenders in 2023. United States, look at that, 916 billion. Wow, that's a huge number. Look at that compared to all these other countries. China, if we're so concerned about China, if the US is concerned about it, I should say, they're only 1/3 roughly of what the US is spending. So I'm not sure what the real concern is there, but obviously they are number 2 in defense spending right now. 3 times what Russia is spending, and Russia's at war right now. So isn't that crazy to think about? Okay, China's not even really at war, and they're over here spending 3 times as much for their defense. So to an extent, I understand the concern, but at the same time, like I said, lots of countries are doing this. Here's India at 83.6 billion, Saudi Arabia 75.8 billion, United Kingdom 74.9 billion, Germany at 66.8 billion, Ukraine at 64.8. It's crazy to see Ukraine on here, but that's because they're at war right now. France at 61.3 billion and Japan at 50.2 billion. So here's like a chart. If you want to save that, you can take a screenshot of this and take a look at this. It shows like the defense spending. Here's the numbers here that we were just looking at, like 916 billion for United States. Okay, so it kind of just goes over 2023 and 2022's defense spending change. So look at 2.3% spending in 2022 to 2023 for the United States, and it jumped all the way to 3.4. Let's look at China's 6.0 for 2022 to 23, And then over here, it says 1.7. Not sure what that means, why that's like that. But as far as we know, they are increasing their defense spending. Okay. So maybe this is an increase. Maybe it's a 1.7% increase on top of that six. I'm not sure what these brackets mean here. But yeah, go ahead and take a screenshot of that if you want to, if you want to study that and get a good look at how these countries are spending their money. But definitely, we are seeing an increase in defense spending across the board for multiple countries. Like I said, it's not just China, but this U.S. Admiral is definitely concerned about China, and obviously, he operates in the Indo Pacific. So, China would be one of his major players that he'd be watching, considering that he's responsible for that region, okay, protecting the Philippines and multiple nations around that area. So let me know what you think about this update, though. I just wanted to share this information because I think it's some significant information to understand that definitely the world is moving towards a wartime footing. Okay, that's what a lot of countries are doing right now, spending lots and lots of cash on defense. Okay, so that's going to be it for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below and hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.